We're gonna go ahead and get started with the presentation. This is the keys to professionalism. My name is Jelando Jerry Johnson. Jerry's the nickname, but Jelando, that's the government name, and that's unique name my mom came up with. But anyway, let's get into it, y'all. Um, Professionalism is very important as a musician. It's what separates musicians, the professionals, from the amateurs or the hobbyists, the people that's really, really serious about doing this music. It is a business. And in any business, especially this business, you got to be a professional. So what I want to do is I'm going to give you 16 keys to professionalism. So, number one, be early. Not on time, but be early. I don't know if y'all heard the saying, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, you're screwed. So be early. Rehearsals, performances, no matter what. That's one important, that's why I put it first. Whatever you be early. Number two, learn the music at home. When you have a performance coming up, and when you get to rehearsal, that's not the time to learn the music. You have to learn the music at home so that rehearsal can go smoothly. You work out the rough spots, and rehearsal can be efficient. But that only happens when you learn the music at home. So whatever music that you have to learn, make sure you come to rehearsal knowing it, or knowing it the best you can, even if you haven't played it. Okay? So learn the music at home. Number three, make yourself valuable in every gig that you do. Be a problem solver. And what I mean by that is you bring value to whatever performance you do. You're not just playing your instrument, but you are making yourself an irreplaceable value to the whole situation. So that means not only just playing whatever instrument you play, but also if you sing, that's an added commodity. If you score or arrange, that's an added commodity. If you can work the sound, that's an added commodity. So these are things that makes people want to call you for performances, more so than just playing your instrument. You're going above and beyond the call of duty, so to speak. So being valuable, bringing value to your performance is so very important, and it helps to always keep you working. Okay. Number four, listen to other musicians. In other words, the musicians that you're performing with, listen to them as you're playing your instrument. What makes that so important is that it determines some things about how you play and how you interpret the music. So you learn, if you listen to other musicians, if you listen to the bass player, if you play in bass, you listen to the drummer. You listen to the keyboard player. You listen to the guitar player. You're even listening to the horn players. You're listening to what everybody is doing so that you can fit right in, and the whole musical situation takes off and becomes a success. So you want to listen to all the other musicians as well as yourself, and make sure you're all on the right track, on the same page. Okay? The next one is learn how to read music. Now, I'm sure most everybody here know how to read music. Bass clef and treble clef. So you want to be able to do both and be able to read both. Sometimes you might get the music and you read bass clef, but something happened and they don't have your music in bass clef, but it's in treble clef. So you want to be able to read treble clef, whichever clef you get. If something happens, you always be prepared to keep the music going. So being able to read both clefs, bass and treble clef, is also very, very important. The next one is have a positive attitude. You do not want to come into a situation with a negative attitude or with any type of attitude that'll bring the whole situation down. That's the one way to ensure that you will not get called back by that band leader or music director. Always have a positive attitude. Even when things are not going as they should go, as you think they should go. Everybody is dealing with some stuff, and it sometimes transfers to the performance. But if you come in and you keep a great attitude, that's just one way to keep things moving as they should. Positivity is everything. So have a positive attitude. The next one is keep your instrument or your equipment in the best shape possible. So you always want to continue, always check your instrument, check your equipment. If something that doesn't sound right, and if you can get it fixed or you can fix it right then and there, great. If you need to take it and get it repaired, do that. But always keep your equipment in the top shape because it comes across in your performance. So if your equipment and your instruments sound like crap, that's what it's going to sound like to the listeners. So it's very important to always have your equipment in the top-notch shape. And I'll add to that, have backups. Have a backup to your equipment. So you should have more than one bass, more than one saxophone, more than one keyboard. You should be able to, if something goes down, you should be able to replace it just like that. Now, it's not cheap. It's gonna, but it's well worth it because it pays for itself to be able to replace your instrument if something happens to the one that you play primarily. Okay, so always keep your instrument in best shape and have backups when needed. The next one is be open to changes. Now, this is one, it took me a while to get because I like to play songs in the key that they're written in, the original key. But sometimes you're going to get some singers that's not going to be able to do that, to sing the song in the original key. And so I have to be open to them people changing the keys on the song. I don't like it, but that's the way it goes. But the good thing about it is being flexible. Your flexibility in that area will lend to flexibility in other areas when needed. So being flexible, being open to changes will do you so much good in the long run, okay? The next one, and this is so very important, keep your word. Hold on to your commitment. And when a conflict arises, handle it immediately. So if you give your word that you're going to be at a performance, keep that word. If something else comes up, and sometimes things do come up, and it's understandable that you cannot keep your word, the best thing to do is handle it quickly. And if you can find someone to take your place that will be able to deliver, play even better than you on the gig, on the performance, you do that. So whenever something happens to where you cannot, your first priority is to keep your word. If you cannot keep your word, something comes up, get someone that can fill your space so that the performance doesn't suffer. Okay? The next one is listen to all kinds of music. So I'm going to say that again. Listen to all kinds of music. We all have our preferences of music that we love to listen to and that we love to play. But then everybody has an expression, and everybody's expression is not the same style of music. But you respect the fact that it's still someone's expression, and a lot of people are love it and have listened to it, and it makes their lives better. So listen to all kinds of music because that can also increase your work possibilities. Say like somebody calls you for a country music gig. country music performance. I don't like saying gig, but country music performance. If you know how to, if you've been listening to country, then you have a feel for what the music sound like, and then you can get in and pretty much fit right in to the performance because you already know you've been listening to country. So even you're jazz, we're jazz players, but music is a small time community, and people know who you are based on your performance and what you can do. So if you're able to play different kinds of music when something comes up that is not what you primarily play, but you're able to nail it and make some good money, you can't get no better than that. So be open to all kinds of music. The next one is, and it's key to professionalism, have reliable transportation, even if it's Uber or Lyft. Living in Houston, you got to have a car for anytime. Nothing is a walking distance, and we don't have public transportation like they got in New York and Chicago, on the East Coast. You got to have a car. So you always want to keep your car in its reliable state to where to get you where you need to be. And people won't be wondering where you are when you got a performance, but your car is tripping, and you're not there at the performance yet. You want to have reliable transportation. Keep that oil change, which is always the key to long life for your car. Keep the oil change. Keep your tires in with plenty of air, and those are just basic things, which will go a long way. Okay. And you ain't even got to have the best of cars, just a reliable. Get you from point A to point B, or from one performance to the next. The next one is leave the stage like you found it, or even better. So when you when you get on stage and you see how clean it is, how compact it is, it's clean, it's orderly. That's how you want to leave it when the performance is over. You don't want to leave, like if you're a drummer, you don't want to leave sticks off or wood from the sticks. You don't want to leave strings if you had to change strings for your bass. You don't want to leave reeds if you had to change reeds on your saxophone. You want to leave the stage as clean as you found it. Okay? Got a few more. This was an important one. Another one. They were all important, but this one here. Keep your drinking to a minimum. So if you're playing in a club, or you're playing at an establishment, if you're doing a wedding reception or some kind of function where there's alcohol is served, I would say one drink should do it. If you, because this time people always want to buy the band a drink. We sounding good, and people like, hey man, let me get you a drink. You need to keep that to a minimum. Don't overdo it. I'm not saying not to drink at all, but I am saying just to, you know your limit. One drink will do it. And if you go above that, you're pushing it, and you might get to the point to where you might not get called back if you start getting up there and acting unprofessional. So keep your drinking to a minimum. Next one is keep your clothes clean and decent. Appearance is everything on stage. How you see, what people see is one thing, is another way that they'll always remember you. Not just for what they hear you play, but how you looked on stage. People will remember that. From the band leaders, from the band to the audience. Your presentation is so important. That's really what that's about, is presentation. So you want to get up there, you want to look professional at all times from the time you get to the venue to the time you leave. You always want to look professional, and keeping your clothes clean and decent goes a long way. Last but not least, refer back to key one, be early. To be early is to be on time. To be on time is to be late, and to be late is to be screwed. Thank y'all for listening, And y'all enjoy the rest of your day.